Hey guys, Paul's Path here. How many minutes we got left? My phone keeps shutting off. But anyway, this is Paul's Path. We're learning how to stay sober one day at a time. There's always different principles to talk about. There's always different solutions. There's always different problems. There's always different fear and anxiety and anger and self-pity and pissed off at mom and, mom loves sister best and all that stuff. And we have a solution to it all, okay? Now, what we're going to talk about is this is going to be a video for more like newcomers, and I hope the newcomers will contact me. People that are new in AA or don't understand anything about this, please feel free to call me. Okay, you're not going to find it in the description because it's just too hard. You got to hit this and hit. You can look in the description, right? But this is going to be the easier way. Okay, so take a screenshot of that, right? What do you got there? You get the phone number, the WhatsApp, and the email. That's all you're going to need to contact me, okay? This is life and death, okay? If you want to live, call me or get to a meeting or surrender. And surrender means to take the advice of those who have gone before you without evaluating what they say, and you just do it. Now, don't forget, over 90% of the people die of this disease. More people are dying of drug overdose and alcoholism than cancer. And that's a true fact, and you can look that up. So we get something serious. We get the number one killer in America right now between the ages of 18 and 44. Okay? So we're talking about something serious. And I've been doing A for 19 years. I've sponsored hundreds of guys. Everybody that's ever gone through this book with me and these spiritual principles and still apply it today are absolutely sober, have great jobs, have great families, have great relationships, are happy, enjoying life. And the big part is they do not have the obsession to use or drink. All because of this. Okay? 100% tells you this is not a history book. This is a math book, okay? This shows you how to live, okay? So we're going to start with how do we live? We're going to perfect and enlarge our spiritual life. The book says we're restless, we're irritable, we're discontent, we're full of self-pity, we're full of fear. You know what I know. You know the fear you got of the future about the rent and the money, and you know the fear that you have about the girl, and you know the fear about what's going to happen to you, and you know about the shame and guilt of the past. I know it. I've been there, done it. Almost killed my son in a truck. Was broke. Was homeless. I'm not homeless anymore. My son is fine. He's 23 years old. He's an audio engineer for California. Everything turned out great. Why? Alcoholics Anonymous. Okay, it would have been a mess. The book talks about warped lives of blameless children. Now let me tell you what Ebby said, okay? Ebby said, page 15, okay? I'll give you the pages so you can look them up. I'm not trying to impress anybody. But page 15 says, and I already know it, but I'll read it anyway. Ebby says to, Ebby is, if you don't know who Ebby is, look it up. Ebby Thatcher, okay? Ebby was Bill's buddy, okay? And they used to drink together. And can't go over the whole book, the whole book, but Abby said, my friend had emphasized the absolute necessity of demonstrating these principles in all my affairs. That's all 12 principles, okay? Particularly was it important and imperative to work with others as he had worked with us. Faith without works was dead. That sounds familiar, right? He said, and how appallingly true for the alcoholic, for if an alcoholic failed to perfect and enlarge his spiritual life through work and self-sacrifice for others, he could not survive the certain trials and low spots ahead. If he did not work, he would surely drink again, and he would surely drink again, and if he drank, he would surely die. Then faith would be dead indeed. With us, it's just like that. So we perfect and enlarge our spiritual life, not by getting in the yoga position and listening to the waves and that. We go out And there's nothing wrong with that. In addition to, there's nothing wrong with these things in addition to. But nowhere in this book does it tell you to lay on a beach, really. In the 12 of 12 it does, and meditate. Meditate and prayer go hand in hand. Prayer is a petition to God. Prayer is asking God, what should I do? And meditation is listening to the answer. And if you don't know what the answer is, read the St. Francis prayer. Make it a screensaver on your phone, and do that anytime you're unsure of what God's telling you to do. Okay, so that's how we perfect and enlarge our spiritual life. Without that, we don't stay sober. Now, I'm running out of time, but it says, we Alcoholics Anonymous know thousands of men and women just like Bill that we just talked about, where people who normally would not mix. Unlike the feelings of the ship, she's talking about the Titanic, right? Unlike the feelings of the ship passengers, however, our joy and escape from disaster does not subside as we go our individual ways. The feeling of having shared in a common peril, alcoholism, okay, and the beating we took, is one element. It's just an element, strong element, but it's just one element in the powerful cement which binds us. But that in itself would never have held us as we are now joined. The tremendous fact for every one of us is that we have discovered a common solution. We have a way out on which we can absolutely agree. We can save lives, That just don't drink no matter what. Over here on XXIX, I don't have to read it. It's basically a group of doctors did a study on alcoholics. In the world, this is back in the 1938, 39, and the doctors were all treating alcoholics back then because they couldn't really get a good, real paying job after the Depression. So they'd work with alcoholics, and they found out that, number one, alcoholics are childish, grandiose, and emotionally sensitive. But they also found out that the only thing that they had, the only relief that they could offer these alcoholics was total abstinence. Don't drink no matter what. And then the next sentence says, but by doing that, us doctors think that the chronic alcoholic is doomed. So don't drink no matter what and keep coming back means sooner or later you're doomed, and that's why you see so much relapse in AA, and that's why you see so much relapse in programs and detoxes and rehabs. Okay, the rehab rate right now is about 25%, success rate probably less. AA is about 18% now, but yet it used to work 100%. They wrote that years ago, and it's still true today. It said, never did we ever do we see a person fail who has thoroughly followed the path. So somewhere along the last 80-some years, we stopped following the path, okay? It's sad. It's real sad how watered down it got, and it cost millions of lives. So, go over to page 17, quite important. Highly competent psychiatrists, this is what they have in these rehabs, right? Highly competent psychiatrists who have dealt with us have found it sometimes impossible to persuade an alcoholic to discuss the situation without reserve. The doctors and psychiatrists can't get us to open up. We can't get honest with a doctor. We're too embarrassed, right? Parents and intimate friends usually find us even more unapproachable. You know what that means, right? Parents and friends, we can't talk to them about this stuff. And do the psychiatrists and the doctors. But the ex-problem drinker, that's me, who is armed with facts about myself, that's me, okay, properly armed facts about myself, can generally win the entire confidence of another alcoholic in a few hours. I've done it many times. I've done it in an hour before. Okay, I could do it on the phone with you. Until such an understanding is reached, little or nothing can be accomplished. So forget about the doctors, forget about the psychiatrists, forget about the medicine. It's one alcoholic talking to another, and one alcoholic better be armed with facts about himself and has found the solution, or the whole conversation is for naught. Okay? Again, don't drink no matter what. I'll go over it real quick because we say it a lot in meetings, very important to talk about. The most Page 24. At a certain point in the drinking of every alcoholic, he passes into a state where the most powerful desire to stop drinking is of absolutely no avail. This tragic situation has already arrived in practically every case long before it is suspected. What do you hear when you go into Alcoholics Anonymous meeting? Keep coming back and don't drink. The most powerful desire not to drink is of absolutely no avail. Makes no sense. Step 2. We need a higher power. Okay? You look at the page bottom of 43. It says, once more, if they're going to sum it up. Right. Lot of pages on. 2/3 of our book is on step 1. That's how important it is. Once more, the alcoholic at certain times has no effective mental defense against the first drink, except in a few rare cases. Neither he nor any other human being can provide such a defense. His defense must come from a higher power. Okay, that's what we're relying on here. Okay, lack of power, that was our dilemma. We had to find a power by which we could live, and it had to be a power greater than ourselves. Obviously, it can't be a doorknob. Doorknob's not more powerful than me. But where and how were we to find this power? Well, on page 55, it says the power is deep down inside within every man, woman, and child, but it's blocked by calamity and pomp and worship of other things. So we got to remove that stuff. That's blocking us from God. Okay, we need a connection with God in order so He can direct our lives and our thoughts and our actions. And God cannot direct a man or a woman who is full of self-pity, resentment, and fear. He can't do it. We have to clean that channel. You know the St. Francis prayer? We got to clean that up so we can go out and understand and love and comfort and bring light where there's shadows and bring hope where there's despair. That's the big one. Okay? So that's where we're going to find him. That's where he's at. How are we going to find him? If you go to page 58, I don't really need to read it, kind of know the book, but it says how it works. Okay? Rarely have we seen a person fail who has thoroughly followed our path. So instead of saying how it works, how about we do this? How are we going to find a higher power to solve our problem? The main problem being the obsession. Okay? The obsession is a thought that someday, somehow, we're going to control and enjoy our drinking. It's not going to be like last time. It's going to be different this time. I don't have my son. I'm not driving. It's insanity. It's insanity. But in step 2, they say we're going to be restored to sanity. And we're going to be restored to sanity through a higher power. Right? So now we have step after step after step that we're going to follow. The obsession is going to be lifted. We're going to do this on a daily basis, and we're going to stay sober long term. It's not about staying sober today. It's not about just not drinking today. It's about what we do to stay sober today. Just don't drink today is bullshit, because in the book over and over and over again, it says under working with others and even under the doctor's opinion, are you willing to go to any lengths to stay stopped for good? Not for one day, okay? Now, we're going to make a decision in 3. The decision we're going to make in 3 is we're going to turn our will and we're going to turn our lives, which is our thinking. You know, when you write out a will, when you die and you write down everything that where you want your stuff to go or your money to go, that's your will. That's your thinking, okay? Your life is just an accumulation of your actions. That's all it is, okay? So we're going to ask God after we finish these steps. We do it in 87 after we're done here, and we do it in 87, okay? And now we're going to, as we go through the day, we pause when agitated or doubtful and ask for the next right thought or action. What is that? Thought or action. That's our will and that's our life. And that's only a decision that we made in 3. We're not doing it in a 3. We made a decision. To carry out that decision, you got to work the rest of these steps. So, we pause when agitated or doubtful. We constantly remind ourselves, we're no longer running the show, man. We tried that for a long time. We kept getting drunk. Humbly saying to ourselves many times each day, thy will be done. We are then in less much danger of excitement, fear, anger, worry. These are the promises. Self-pity. There's promises behind every principle. There's a promise. They're not just in page 83. I know a lot of people think they're in page 83. There's a promise behind every principle. And there's 12 principles in this book alone. We become much more efficient. We do not tire so easily, for we are not burning up energy foolishly as we did when we were trying to arrange life to suit ourselves. It works, it really does. We alcoholics are undisciplined, so we let God discipline us in the simple way we have just outlined. Discipline. Discipline is to follow the directions in a disciplinary way is the only thing that's going to save your life. If you're going to do it your way, you're in trouble. So, but this is not all. This is step 11. This is not all. There is action and more action. Faith without works is dead, right? We heard that before in the Bible, right? The next chapter is entirely devoted to step 12. Practical experience shows that nothing will so much ensure immunity from drinking as intensive work with other alcoholics. It works when other activities fail. This is our 12th suggestion. Carry this message to alcoholics. What message? The message that the first 11 steps. The message that we have been restored to sanity, that the obsession has been lifted, that we are no longer interested in alcohol. Step 10 promises. Only if we keep doing this. Step 10 says this is not an overnight matter. It has to continue for our lifetime. We got to continue to look for the dishonesty, resentment, and fear and self-pity. And when it props up, we go right back to steps and we learn how to get rid of that stuff, okay? Guilt and shame and whatever. Okay? So practical experience shows nothing short of immunity from drinking. I don't like to repeat myself, but as intensive work with other alcoholics, it works when others fail. This is our 12th suggestion. Carry this message to other alcoholics. You can help when no one else can. The video is getting a little long. I really don't care. This is life and death. So when you get to step 12 and you have a spiritual awakening and the problem's been removed, and you made a decision in 10 that this is not an overnight matter, it's going to continue for your lifetime, and you're going to make the triangle, which is unity, recovery, and service, a priority in your life, and you're going to do the work, and you're going to help others. You will stay sober. You will have a great life, and you'll be useful. I've been happy, and I've been useful. I had a little boy die of cancer, little Nathan, in the hospital, and anyway, I didn't want to be happy. I wasn't happy at all, but I was useful. I can always be useful, So I was happy and I was useful. So in step 12, what we do after we have a spiritual awakening, we're going to go back to the new guy. We're going to explain, because it says it right in here under 12 and 12, okay? It says, under the lash of alcoholism, we are driven to AA. And you got to be careful not to read this too quick. And if you have any problems with any of these words, like, you call me up for free. I get, you just call me up. If you really want to get sober, you just call me up. Hit me on the 902. Hit me on the WhatsApp. WhatsApp's free. Now, under the lash of alcoholism, we are driven to AA, and there in AA, we discover the fatal nature of our situation, the obsession of the mind and the allergy of the body. We can't do anything but the allergy of the body, because I already have the allergy of the body. I take one drink of vodka right now, and I'm in Cuba by midnight. It's just a true story that actually happened. So I can't do anything about the allergy, but I can do a lot about the obsession. If I'm restless, irritable, and discontent, and full of self-pity, and full of hate, and full of guilt and shame, we have a program for somebody like that. And when we straighten out, and we start to think about others, the step 9 promises says, we'll lose interest in selfish things, and we'll gain interest in our fellows. Self-seeking will slip away. Okay, life will mean something at last. Okay, it's very important. These are very important quotes from the book, or pages from the book. So under the last fact, we're driven to AA, and then we become as open-minded to conviction after we learn the fatal nature of a situation, the biggest part being the obsession, the thought that precedes a relapse into drinking. That's where all the problem is. What is it that makes me drink? Let's look at that. Let's get rid of that restless, irritable, and discontent. Okay? So, willing listeners of dying to be, and ready to do anything which will lift the merciless obsession from us. Not the allergy, but the obsession. So, you go through these steps. They say you gotta give it away to keep it. That's a ridiculous statement. You have to give it away to get it. The biggest part of our program is step 12. You got to give it away to get it. There's nothing to keep unless you're giving it away. And it says in the step 7 prayer, it says on 19, our very lives as ex-problem drinkers depend on constant thoughts of others and how we may help make their needs. There's a lot of rehabs that are modeled after me. There's a lot of detoxes and rehabs in LA and all over that are modeled after my program, because the reason being because I probably sponsored most of the people or half the people that work there, but they don't know how to deliver it like me. They don't really understand it. They just know how to repeat me, and they're not delivering it with love like you can see I'm doing now, and they're not delivering it properly. I'm not putting them down. But the success rate right now for rehab is not good. And my success rate for everybody that has gone through these steps with me, and this is a true story. I'm going to have lots of testimonies on this page. They're all sober. They got good lives. They're Porsche mechanics. They're engineers. They're painting contracts. Josh runs a restaurant. I can go on forever. You know, Sean's a business guy. He's doing loans. These guys were taken off the streets, you know, and I grabbed them and I made them mine. And because of the book, not me. Because of the book, I was able to help them because I did the work in the book. MA is watered down right now because people are too lazy to do the work. They want to talk about their car they bought and the house they bought, and if it wasn't for A, they never would have had this wife. But whatever happened to losing interest in selfish things and gaining interest in their fellows? What happened with that? It doesn't seem to be in meetings anymore, you know? So the most important thing I'm going to say is there's 3 mistakes that we make in Alcoholics Anonymous. First of all, and this is not one of the mistakes, you got to show up every day. And if you don't understand something in this book, you got to ask me or somebody that knows, because it's very important. You can't just read this novel, okay, and think you're going to understand it. This is a math book. You need to know exactly what this book is talking about. So if you have a problem with anything in the book, you call me or you call anybody that you think knows, okay? I'm probably the best at it because of the work I put into it. I got my engineering degree in 5 years. I've been doing this for 19 years nonstop. There may be guys out there that are better than me, but who cares? My guys are sober, right? You know, it's not a competition. You know what I mean? It's not a competition. There's a lot of guys that can help a lot of people, and there's a lot of guys that can hurt a lot of people. Like an acute alcoholic. An acute alcoholic is somebody who starts drinking and cannot stop, but he doesn't have the obsession. A chronic alcoholic is a person who cannot stay stopped because of the obsession, And then when he starts to drink, he can't stop because of the allergy. And the allergy is basically we cannot break down alcohol. We cannot metabolize it. We don't have the enzymes, quantity or quality to metabolize alcohol all the way down to carbon dioxide, water, and sugar. It stays as acetone. The acetone goes in the brain. The brain craves more alcohol. The more water we drink, the thirstier we get. The more alcohol we drink, the thirstier we get until we pass out. And do you remember this? Passing out and getting up and going right to the fridge to get more? The acetone is still in the brain. We got to detox from that. It's very important to detox from that before we start any spiritual remedy, okay, to this disease. Long video, I don't care. It may save a life. I don't care if you donate. I don't care if you, all I care about is if you heard this message and if you're willing to call me free of charge. And I'm here for one reason only, and I want to save lives like Mark and Jeff and JB saved my life. And I feel like I owe it, and I have a strong belief and faith in God today. He's going to take care of me, and I'm going to take care of his kids. We're all God's children. So, if you do look in the bio, you'll find the information on phone numbers, you'll find the information on WhatsApp, you'll find the information on emails, you'll see my Facebook in there. Yeah, I'm all over the place. But you know, the best way to get a hold of me would probably be WhatsApp. You know, 152, it's Mexico because I lost my phone, 1-52999-559-95819. And also, I am living in Mexico now too, and I'm trying to carry a message to hopefully the rest of the world. You know. Anyway, that's enough. We're going to tune in tomorrow. We'll do a short one. I hope somebody got something out of this. I know I'm acting very serious. It's a very serious disease. Probably 3 people have died of fentanyl overdose during this entire speaker meeting. And it's pretty sad. So if you're struggling, if you need help, you call me. I'm not shy. I'll make sure you're not shy. You call me up, we'll go over the exact first things that you have to do. And the first thing you might have to do is get detoxed, especially if you're on alcohol. If you're on heroin and fentanyl, you can't die from detoxing off fentanyl and heroin, but you also have a hard time getting off heroin and fentanyl. And down here, I'm in a small little place between Cancun and Playa del Carmen, and I know every military and every cop in town. I can show you pictures. You'll see them on my Facebook. And there's no drugs in this town. There's no fentanyl in this town. There's no heroin and crystal meth in town. If anybody is caught with that, it's a life sentence. So there'll be no temptation. When you're in LA, you go to Walmart and you find the homeless people in the parking lot that can sell you fentanyl. How are you going to get away from it? You come down here, we work along spiritual principles, and there's no way that you can get loaded. It's a safe place, and we do a lot of fun stuff. We don't line up for an apple like they do in rehabs and with no windows, and we eat our apple, and when we go read a book, we have fun here. We go fishing, we go snorkeling. Okay, we do a meeting in the morning, right? It's going to be a good meeting. I'm going to lead the meeting. We're going to have a fun day. Before barbecue at night, we're going to go over spiritual principles. We're going to go over a story in the back of the book. Everybody's going to participate. We're going to talk about what they did right and what they did wrong. So there's 3 things that, and I told you before, 3 things that will keep us from getting sober. And number 1 is, like Jim did, fail to enlarge your spiritual life. Number 2 is, this is not an overnight matter. It has to continue for a lifetime. And number 3 is on page 85. Never, ever let up on the spiritual program of action. If you do, you're headed for trouble and you're going to drink again. And you'll probably never get back. It's that hard to get back. you're probably going to die. And your mom and dad and son and cousins and father and mother and sisters and brothers are going to be heartbroken. So if you can't do it for you, do it for them. And if your mom and dad or sister or brother that's watching this right now that's not an alcoholic or an addict, I suggest you send them this. And if he feels like drinking, tell him to read page 151. It worked for me. And if he wants to go to meetings, that's fine. They're watered down. The success rate is very low. That's why I'm doing this. The rehab success rate is very low. That's why I'm doing this. I just want to help people. I had a lot of money before. It almost killed me. I was drinking at the time. I don't need money. I just want to help people. So, with that being said, call me. Take a screenshot of that and call me. And let's talk about what's going on with you. And do not be afraid of me. I'm probably the most easiest guy to talk to, even though I'm being serious right now. But there's probably nobody easier in the world to talk to about Alcoholics Anonymous than me. And thanks for the donations and the GoFundMe and stuff like that. But I'm not really here for that. I'm here to save lives. So I love you all. I really hope I hear from you. And I'd like to say have a great day. But if you're using and drinking, you know how bad it is. It can't get much worse. So call me. I'll get you started on a path where you can find a way out. Where you don't have to drink or use again forever if you follow this program. Love you guys very much. Alcoholics and addicts, you're just like me. I relapsed for 4 years, from 2001 to 2005. I know about relapse. I know about not doing it right. I know about not doing the 4th step right. But now I know how to stay sober. I know the right things to do. I used to know the wrong things to do. Okay? Yes, long video. But will it save a life? If it saves one life, I doubled my money. Because I'm only one person. So thanks for listening. I hope you got something out of it. I really hope you got something out of it. If I can save one life on this planet, I feel like I go to heaven and God says, good job. And I'm not even doing it for that. I'm doing it because I have compassion and empathy. I have both of those for alcoholics, and I know the pain and I know the suffering. And go ahead and call me anytime. I love you all. I love every one of you. Talk to you later.